Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Monday Namaste session. As you know, if you saw the email uh, that I sent out last night, we're calling this whole week the Three Rules of Enlightenment. A rule means that this is something that you have to follow. If you want to have a certain experience, you have to follow these rules. A guideline might be something a little bit less, an idea, but a rule is something that we need to recognize and follow if we want to have a certain experience. And if we're choosing to have the experience of being awake, being fully realized, being at one consciously with all that is, then these are the rules. So we're going to dive right into that, and we're going to sort of set the stage today, and then we'll slowly unwrap these all week long. And they're ultimately going to lead to one statement that we can use that is so powerful, and it's very similar to something that we shared maybe 2 weeks ago. But we'll get into that in a moment. But first, I want to go back to something I think we talked about maybe a week ago. And you'll be surprised because it's a movie that I mentioned. And the movie that I mentioned was Fight Club. We're back to Fight Club again. And the reason I'm bringing up Fight Club is because there, in the beginning of the movie, there are rules in Fight Club. You may know this if you have watched the movie. So I'm going to first tell you what the rule number one is in Fight Club. Rule number one is you do not talk about Fight Club. And if you watch the movie, you know what rule number two is. Rule number two is you do not talk about Fight Club. Why am I bringing that up? Well, that'll make sense in a moment. So let me go ahead and I'm going to share these three rules with you, the rules for awakening or for enlightenment, and it'll make sense in a moment. So let's begin. The first rule in waking up to remember to know who you really are is whenever I feel the need to correct someone, for whatever reason, it is me who needs the correction. That's rule number one. Rule number two, whenever I feel the need to correct someone, it is me who needs the correction. You see? Now, many of us may be thinking, but there are times when someone needs to be corrected, when there's an error, whatever it may be. And the answer to that is always no. And we're going to, as I said before, we're going to get to a point in this lesson where we're going to understand the only real response that sets us and our brother or sister free. Okay, but these first two rules, which are the same rule, they are resolute, they are uncompromised. Whenever I feel the need to correct someone, for whatever reason, and I capitalize the word whatever, it doesn't matter what the reason is, I'm the one that needs to be corrected because I believe in that moment that there's someone outside me that needs to be corrected. Now, rule number three is part of the solution. Rule number three is the I am, that I am, the truth of who I am, never corrects. It only extends. It only extends love, understanding, compassion. So whenever I feel that my brother or sister are in error, saying something, doing something that is wrong, and I feel that need to correct them, I have to recognize that this is a trap. I've set a snare for myself. And that snare is the idea that there is someone outside me that is doing something or saying something wrong, and that I can, on my own, correct them, tell them what's all I'm really saying in that moment is you're wrong and I'm right. And if you're smart, you're going to do what I tell you. Do you see how this is an attack? But it's not an attack on the other person. It's an attack on me, on my own self with a capital S, because I've denied the truth of who I am, because that third lesson, third rule is so important. The I am that I am, the truth within me, never corrects. It only extends. And what does it extend? It only extends love. It only extends love, compassion, no matter what. Because it recognizes that that is all that exists, all that is, and therefore I'm going to only give that. And this is what sets me free, and it's what allows a holy relationship, a holy encounter to come about that sets all of us free. But as soon as I fall into the trap thinking I have the wisdom, the insight, the enlightenment to tell you what to do or to correct you, I have fallen into a trap myself that I set for myself. But there is a solution, and it's a beautiful, elegant solution. And here it is, because this rule, I and you and probably all of us we're going to not follow it probably 10 times this hour. This is a trap that we're so accustomed to, making judgments, having ideas of what is right and wrong, what should happen, what shouldn't happen. It's a habit that we've fallen into. But there is an answer. There is a way around this. And here it is. Whenever we sense that someone is sharing something or doing something that we somehow feel that spark of correction, what we do is we look at them and say, I don't know. I love you. Do you see how similar this is to something we shared a couple of weeks ago? That was all about opinions. My opinion being better than your opinion. My ideas, my concepts being better than your ideas or concepts. And once again, it's a trap, because whenever I have an opinion, whenever I am opposed to something that I think that you believe or do or whatever it may be, I have fallen into a trap saying, I'm right, you're wrong. However that shows up, you have fallen into a trap. And in that situation, the answer was, maybe, I don't know. There's no confrontation there. There's only openness. And it's the same thing with this. Whenever I feel the need to correct someone, the only answer is, I don't know. I love you. Whatever the situation, whatever the opinion, whatever seems to be happening in that moment, it is always the only answer, because I don't know. In my split consciousness, and don't think that you're out of the split consciousness. Don't play the game of thinking I'm beyond all of this, because that's another trap. If you find yourself here, there are still lessons for you here. And the lesson will always be to take full responsibility for what you see. Full responsibility. That is the only way that that lesson is ever going to be learned, because as soon as I don't take full responsibility by saying you're wrong or you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing or whatever it may be, I am the one that has fallen into the trap. And the only answer is, I don't know. I love you. The one word that describes this best is forgiveness. My willingness to see that where I thought correction was needed, no correction was ever needed. This is right from A Course in Miracles. True forgiveness is wherever I perceive that there was an error that my brother or my sister committed, the realization that no error, no sin took place at all, is my willingness to look through what seems to be happening to the truth, through or past the dream or the illusion to the truth, which is wholeness. And it's the exact same thing with correction. My willingness, no matter what, to look at you and say, I don't know, but I love you. And I'm going to hold that space for you and for me. So the time of us putting people outside of ourselves and setting them up, that's what we're doing by correcting them. We're setting them up and we're setting ourselves up for a fall. When the only answer are those first two, well, actually all three of those rules. Number one, I'll go over them again. Whenever I feel the need to correct someone for whatever reason, it is me who needs the correction. In fact, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to say these lines, and I want you to repeat them after me. because we really need to drill this in. So nice and loud, wherever you are. I'll say the first part and you follow. Whenever I feel the need to correct someone, whenever I feel the need to correct someone, for whatever reason, for whatever reason, it is me who needs the correction. It is me who needs the correction. And then skipping to the third, the I am that I am, the I am that I am, never corrects, never corrects, but only extends, only extends, only extends love, only extends truth, only extends peace. Excuse me. And if I can remember this, especially in the moment when I'm suddenly feeling like I need to correct that person, I need to tell that person something that's going to set them straight again, to stop, hold still, take a deep breath, and whether I say it out loud or inwardly, I don't know, but I love you. So I'm going to turn it over to our dear sister Vicky now and hear what she would like to expand upon that. Good morning, Vicky.
Good morning, Jimmy. And I wouldn't want to expand too much because I want to keep it simple. The whole summation of everything I've ever done my whole life, spiritually and every other way, course sums it up. What isn't love is fear, and I'm here to love. Love is the answer, no matter the question. Whatever isn't love is a call for love. And we are here, thank God, to give the answer of love wherever we are. It's really so simple and so singular. There's no duality. It's
Exactly.
just none. And as soon as there's the idea of, like you said, correction or striving for something, it goes beyond even correcting, striving for some goal or thinking we have to fulfill something or this or that. That's right there embedded in our head. That's still that idea of something outside of me rather than the realization of the fullness of being that we are here to give. And whether we have moments of this awakening and enlightening experience, or we're living in it constantly all the time, it, it is available all the time. And that little trigger of if I think I need to correct someone is the perfect way to get rid of that block that's blocking that ever fulfilling present presence of love that just wants to give of itself.
Yeah.
And if the whole thing is about removing the blocks to love's awareness, well, that's the best way to see where the block is. Don't have to figure it out or analyze it or go to the past or do anything with it. Just, oh my gosh, this is my own call for love. Let me give the love that I would know of myself as being. Let me give it.
Yeah.
Love, love, love.
Love, love,
That's it.
love. It keeps coming back to the Beatles, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yes, that's right, Vicky. It's going to show up in an infinite number of ways in different disguises, but it's the same thing. It's the judgment. It's the idea that there's someone outside me that can get this wrong. And the truth is, there is no duality. As soon as I do that, I have entered into the world of two rather than one. And the whole call here is to experience a singular experience beyond duality. So I'd love to hear what Teddy has to share about this.
There
Well,
you go.
Jimmy, you're going to like this. The first thing I want to say is you singing Helen's notes. Jesus wants, I'm in the process of publishing the first 8 chapters of Helen's notes exactly as Jesus spoke to her, because Jesus says it's time for people to understand that he'll talk to anybody about everything. And he wants me to publish Helen's notes. So that's one of
Great.
the things I'm doing today. And then the other thing is this, I got a message last night as I was just sort of lying around doing nothing. And the message was this: you have to forgive yourself for needing forgiveness.
Mm. Hmm. That's right. Forgive even that.
That's right. Forgive yourself for needing forgiveness. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that, boy, we could do a whole week of sessions just on that one statement. That is so deep.
That's that's the tech crew. I was lying in bed, and all of a sudden I was ready to fall asleep. And all of a sudden they said to me, "You have to forgive yourself for needing forgiveness." And I woke right up and I started to tell everybody I knew.
Yeah. We could
You're gonna
substitute the word correction there. I have to forgive myself
yeah,
for thinking I need correction.
you're right,
The
exactly.
only the only place correction is needed is in the illusion or the non-dual state.
That's right.
And the only thing that needs to be corrected is the idea that such a thing is possible.
That's right.
It's so simple. It's so simple. Cool. Thank you, Teddy. I love it. I see Baraka has his hand up. Baraka, what would you like to share?
Well, I had a conversation about this very thing. I can't remember. It's been a while now. Can't even remember who it was with, but it was a group of people, and someone brought up the idea of offering correction if you've been given responsibility for a small child and you see something that they're going to do, like run into traffic or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think we came up with was, okay, you're going to correct the child because you've been given responsibility for this. You have given yourself responsibility for this child. And so you correct the child, but then you forgive yourself for doing that. You correct the child, you offer the correction in love. Darling, I love you, but please don't run into that traffic. And then you say, Baraka, I love you. You don't have to beat yourself up about this. You forgive yourself for needing forgiveness.
Yeah.
And so there is a step that we have offered ourselves by seeing someone who we are responsible for. And we have accepted that responsibility for our brother, be it a small child or whatever. And you understand that if you do not offer that correction, then you have failed in your responsibility that you have given yourself. Once you act on that responsibility, then you forgive yourself for having corrected, and you say, "I love you."
Yeah.
And I think that's how we ended that conversation. So that's how I'll end it too.
Well, that's good. I just wrote down, we do what we have to do in a situation like you just described. We do what we have to do, but then we can still live within that experience of, I don't know, I love you. I never know what needs to happen. But like if I'm with my granddaughter and my granddaughter runs into traffic, what am I going to do? I'm going to stop her and I'm going to tell her not to do that. And I'm going to still, the vibration is going to be, I don't know, I love you. And so there are different levels here. There's level one, level two thinking here. And so we don't want to confuse the two, but there are so many times in our lives, especially in our spiritual lives, where we want to say, you're doing that part wrong. Let me tell you how to do it right. I just made it very clear there. But that is what we do. You're doing that wrong. Let me tell you how to do it right. Do you see how I've only attacked myself by saying that? I really haven't even attacked you. I've attacked myself with a capital S by believing that there is a you out there that could get this wrong. Instead of realizing that the you that I am and that we share is whole and perfect right now, no matter what. We always lean into those words, no matter what. And it's good that we do because it really is the key. No matter what this looks like, this is the truth. Thank you, Baraka. Let's pop over to Namaste and see what's going on there. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Oh, who would like to share? The microphone's in front of Christina, so I guess we begin with her. She gets the mic.
Let me shove this in front of your face.
As I was listening to you share, Jimmy, and also Vicky and Teddy, what kept coming through is Jesus, such a perfect example of truth being expressed, and yet there he was crucified for it. And how the mind will always be in resistance to truth because it's a threat, because it perceives everything as separate. It believes in the little me. And truth cannot be received through the mind. And we touched on this a little bit, I think it was Friday, when we took a moment together to check ourselves and notice, am I listening through the mind, which is thinking about what has been shared and having its thoughts, opinions, judgments upon it? Or am I listening from that still place of the heart, not the emotional heart that feels emotion because the emotion is invoked by thought, but the still heart, the truth of our being, the true self. The true self, that heart, that spaciousness within us is fluid. It's expansive. There is no face to be attacked. There is no attacker. There is not a you and a me. There is only already harmony. There is only already peace. And if I'm hearing from that silent space within, whatever has been spoken is received as love, because there is only love in and within and from that place. But if I hear through the mind, then I rid myself, and I say we rid ourselves of the opportunity to receive the love and the truth that is there only in this moment. It can only be found now, here, in the stillness, the source, the truth of my being. And whether I am the one speaking or the one listening, it does not matter, because there is only one. There's only harmony in that space. I can never feel attacked. I can never attack from that space. And so as we continue to rest in the source, the Christ, the essence of our nature, there is no conflict. There is no problem. There is no resistance. There's just that open, expansive, fluid heart that is present and aware of all that is before it moment to moment. And truth is something that reveals itself deeper and deeper. There is no knowing of truth. I cannot know the truth. I can experience revelations of truth that move through me, that arise from that silent space. But even that is not the totality of truth. Truth continues to reveal itself in this infinite, expansive nature that I have never found to end. So I cannot know, because the knowing is continually expanding and showing itself forth. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way, and few there be that find it. I find many arrive at the gate, and narrow is the way. The way is, as I keep my mind stayed upon thee, I shall be kept in perfect truth. Thee is the silent center, the kingdom of heaven is within. But most of us get distracted with our attachments to this thought and that thought, this concept, this feeling, this reaction. And that way is not narrow and straight. It is up and down and all around. And so as we center ourselves on that single focus is only within. The kingdom of heaven is within. It has not a thing to do with anything that I see before me. Our one devotion to God itself. And the simplicity of that is so profound that most of us miss it. We like to complicate it with the path. This morning, there's a group of us that meet in meditation at 6 a.m. and there was a sharing of the line from the Course in Miracles. It takes no time to awaken. There is no path. There is only now. And now only exists in the silent stillness of this moment that watches and is aware of it all. There can only be love for our brother, for our sister, because there is only one. And from that place of silence and stillness, we only experience one.
Beautiful. Thank you. You know, you brought up the crucifixion, and yet this is a beautiful illustration, because in the moment of the crucifixion, Jesus looks up and says, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." He's not correcting them in that moment. He's not bemoaning the tragedy that appears to be happening. He's simply living within that place of open forgiveness. And that's really the essence of what we're saying. That's why I linked this with forgiveness, because this is what forgiveness really is. Realizing that that which I think has happened in reality never did. Or that the one who I think needs correction, in reality, there is no one there that needs to be corrected, no matter what. It is mine simply to love them, to extend love and forgiveness to myself. And if we can just live there, then it gets very simple, as we know.